Hello everyone and welcome to another MCU review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the latest MCU movie. I'm a little bit late to it, but it is Eternals. Not The Eternals, just Eternals. Eternals released November 5th, 2021, directed by Chloé Zhao, starring Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Kit Harrington, Don Lee, Barry Keoghan, Lauren Ridloff, Bryan Tyree Henry, Leah McHugh, Kumail Nanjiani, Richard Madden, and Gemma Chan. Like I said, I'm a bit late to it, but I'm still putting a spoiler warning here because I'm going to be talking about the movie, obviously. And there's going to be a lot more explaining here because there's a lot of new concepts and things, so buckle up, enjoy the ride as I detail this movie. The Celestials are these big cosmic gods that are responsible for running life throughout the universe. The Deviants are these big gray creatures that just go around killing everything. The Eternals work for Arishem, who's the big red Eternal, and their job is to go around killing the Deviants so that life can prevail. Which brings us to the main chunk of the movie, the present day stuff. Basically, they never got the call home, so they're just hanging out on Earth, and we follow Cersei, Sprite, and Icarus as they have to go reassemble the Eternals because the Deviants are back and their leader Ajak is dead. Almost the rest of the movie is pretty much just going place to place, meeting up with the new characters, saying the same things over and over again about how the Deviants are back, Ajak's dead. Enough to where it was noticeable that it would happen so many times over the 2.5 hour runtime. And I know I'm oversimplifying things that happen in this movie, but still, it was enough to be noticeable. You also had some fight scenes and flashbacks sprinkled in just for some action to happen, because not much really happens otherwise. And eventually it's revealed, the plot twist happens, that Arishem, the Celestial guy, the main one, was the one who created the Deviants, and their job was to kill all of the predators on a planet so that the prey population can grow to its maximum capacity, and they would use that life force to give birth to a Celestial at the cost of all the lives on the planet. And the same thing is going to happen with Earth. However, the Deviants became out of control, started killing everything, so the Celestials created the Eternals to go kill the Deviants and do their original job. And I'll definitely talk more about this later, because this is honestly where the movie kind of lost me. So at the end of the movie, all of the Eternals are together, and they're discussing what they should do. Should they let the Celestial be born at the expense of Earth, and have that Celestial create life throughout the galaxy, or do they stop the Celestial from being born and save the Earth? And this creates some sort of like a mini Civil War type conflict. Kingo leaves, Icarus and Sprite are like, no, we gotta let the Celestial be born, and the other Eternals try to stop it. The problem is, unlike Civil War, where you're actually invested in these characters, we just met most of these people 20 minutes ago, and it makes them even more unlikable when they're bickering about whether or not they should save the world. Also, we know that they're going to save the world. The stakes are so high that they ironically just kind of become meaningless. We know the Earth's not going to blow up when there's 42 other movies and shows coming out. So, they do save the world, obviously. Icarus flies into the sun and kills himself because metaphors. Sprite's powers, she gives up her powers because of special circumstances or something. And the ending teases some other things, like some of the Eternals are taken by Arishem. Some of the Eternals are going out into space to look for other Eternals, where they come across Harry Styles as Star Fox, and something about the Black Knight. So not a very conclusive ending, or kind of even an emotionally satisfying final battle. It looks good, but that's about it. I did mention there was a point in the movie that kind of lost me, and now I'm going to break down into detail why that is the case. The Celestials, let's talk about them first. They are seemingly infinitely stronger than the Eternals and the Deviants. Seemingly immortal, right? Why even create the Deviants to begin with if you need to cultivate life on a planet to give birth to a new Celestial? Their whole job is to make sure life is running smoothly throughout the galaxy. Why don't you just focus your time on a planet specifically? This should be like a couple of seconds to you relatively, right? So just spend your time making sure it reaches the most amount of living things, and then it'll give birth to a new Celestial. Why don't you just do it directly and, save all of this trouble? Forgot to mention there is another villain in this movie that they don't even bother to say his name. He's this deviant who can just somehow absorb powers from Eternals. Never explained how he can do that, but once he does, he becomes more and more human-like. He brings up a point about how the Deviants and Eternals are both creations of Arishem, and how they've both been manipulated, but that doesn't go anywhere. You figured there'd be some type of team up, but he's just randomly killed off during the final battle. The Deviants don't really make any sense. Honestly, they're just there in the movie for them to fight something before the plot twist that the Celestials are bad happens. And it doesn't really make any sense. Why does the prey population have to live, you know? Why does it matter that specific type of life lives? I'm pretty sure if you kill off a predator population, the prey population also decreases. So just a lot of questions with the Deviants. They're just not very good. I also have a lot of questions for the Eternals, the main characters of the movie, you know, who were also created by Arishem. You know, the celestial god, seemingly unlimited power, and free reign to create them however he sees fit, okay? So let's start off with their mission. If you're gonna create them with emotions, why not just tell them, you know, their main objective, okay? That way they're far less likely to get attached to anyone and they're much more competent in completing their goal. But also, why even create them to have emotions in the first place? You're the one making them. Make them to not have emotions. Then they probably would never betray you. Just so many problems avoided just by that alone, okay? But then you get to the powers, and it makes me wonder, okay? If you have Icarus, Icarus and Phastos. They're objectively the best Eternals. Icarus is the strongest, the fastest, can fly, can shoot lasers, and Phastos is super smart, okay? So if you have those two, right, why make an Eternal who can only shoot lasers, an Eternal who can only have super strength, an Eternal who only has super speed and is deaf, right? McHugh is deaf. Makes sense because, you know, the actress in real life is deaf and there's nothing wrong with being deaf. But when a celestial god is making it, you'd at least expect some type of explanation, but no. And the same thing's true with Sprite. Sprite can create illusions, but she's in the body of a child forever. Why? Nobody listens to kids. Why would you create Druig who can mind control people and tell them not to interfere with anybody? Which also makes me wonder, why can't they interfere with anybody? If their main objective is to make sure that there is the most amount of living beings on the planet, why not just interfere in a way that could make there be no conflict and just have as much life as possible? Why does it matter? So, you just have all these arbitrary restrictions, okay? When you seemingly should just be able to make all of these Eternals have all the same powers, same level of intelligence, and no emotions to get in the way. Now, the real-world explanation is that would be kind of boring to watch. I mean, a bunch of insanely powerful, emotionless people, that'd be boring, okay? But there's not even remotely an explanation for why it is the way it is in the movie, and that's why I'm talking about it so much here, okay? It leaves me with so many questions, not in a way that it leaves me wanting more, it just leaves me confused. How about I talk about things I do like? I do think the visuals and music are very, very good. That's one of Phase 4 in the MCU's biggest improvements, is that it does look very good and sound very good, which is important because there's a lot of different time periods, a lot of different locations to go to, and it's done very well. I also think the concepts are here. It's just, there's simply just not enough time, even after being over 2.5 hours long, to really make you care about the characters or get to, you know, answer all of these things that are unintentionally ambiguous in a bad way. So I think if this was a Disney Plus series, you had so much more room to, you know, get invested in the characters and explain things, but it wasn't. However, I can see, like, you know, a resemblance of, like, things here that could have been good. Those are my very extensive thoughts on Eternals. I'm going to give it my score of meh. I just didn't like this one. I didn't like it. There were things in it that I liked, but it left me not caring about any of the characters. A lot of questions, just things that didn't really make sense. Like, the whole movie just could have been avoided if the Celestials had actually used their brains. And didn't really have much of a satisfying ending. But that's what I think. Maybe you've seen it. If you have, let me know what you think. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications, and I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.